Hello. So I'm here to represent Pitney Meadows Community Farm first and foremost. And so thank you all for being here from the farm, or friends and family and people who have really influenced me in my life. And thank you to Caffe, Lena, for holding such a wonderful event with such an important message. To me, this event is about more than sharing the stories of nonprofits. It's really a chance to empower anyone to go out and share their individual story. And that may not be on a stage in front of 100 people, but it may give one person the strength to go home and share one challenge with just one person that they know. So I was really honored to be asked to do this because I know the impact that Pitney Meadows has had on my life, but also because I hope that my story can help someone else. So my story starts at age 13. And at this age, I was diagnosed with a rare genetic eye disease called Retinitis Pigmentosa, or RP for short. And RP essentially is a degenerative disease. It kills the rods in your eyes over the course of your life, and there's no cure for it. People often ask me what I can and cannot see, so just to ensure that you're not curious about that as I speak this evening, I can briefly describe it as no night or low light vision. I can't see any of you right now, so that's really actually helpful. Bright things are very, very bright, and I have a limited visual field from narrowing peripheral vision. But losing my vision is not really my story. When I talk about being someone with an incurable condition and a disability, which I now do pretty frequently, I talk about the emotions surrounding it. I talk about the depression and the anxiety that I sunk into shortly after my diagnosis, a place that felt darker than being in a dark room. And a place that I really thought for a long time that I would stay because it became my normal. I talk about the feelings of loss, of embarrassment, of isolation, of frustration, of anger, feelings that I now know anyone living with any kind of life-altering condition experiences. And I talk about the psychological games that I played with myself after diagnosis, stories that I'm a burden or difficult or unlovable, and stories that I also know anyone living with any kind of condition is not unfamiliar with. So, but it's hard to summarize my story, and you're probably wondering what it has to do with a community farm. But I can briefly summarize it as I moved back to Saratoga in 2016. I had graduated from Skidmore in 2011, actually, with a degree in studio art and environmental studies. And I had been working in New York City at the time, in 2016, and I had had some pretty terrifying falls, and they were really scary, and every day getting off the train, I was having anxiety attacks. I felt at risk at all times, basically. And it was a moment in my life that this progressive disease, this disability that was getting worse, was really brought to the surface. Like, after years of denial and disassociation, it just became very real. And at that time, I had been studying yoga and meditation and mindfulness in general, and I had a pretty clear calling to move back to Saratoga for my mental well-being and my emotional well-being. But about a year after I moved back, I was sitting in my apartment on Broadway, and I Googled the term community farm. I had been taking my mindfulness practice pretty seriously. I'd been reading all the texts and studying with various teachers, and really just getting very much practice in that continuous effort of bringing myself back to the present moment and being aware of what I felt in the present moment. And slowly through that effort of becoming more present, I was becoming more self-aware, and through that self-awareness, I was becoming less afraid and less angry. But I knew that gardening had like these mental health benefits, and some people even say it's a form of meditation in and of itself. So when I Googled that term, I saw that this place, Pitney Meadows Community Farm, was having a meeting like the next week at the public library. And so this was 2017 now. And I decided that I was going to go to the meeting. I showed up at the meeting, and I was definitely the youngest person in the room. And I knew nobody there, but everyone was so nice, and they really encouraged me to get a small garden bed. So that first summer, I had my little bed, and I was horrible at growing vegetables. But I was, nurturing my crops, and at the same time, I was starting to nurture this idea of starting a nonprofit myself. And some of the people that I had met at the farm through either volunteering or just watering seemed to like the idea that I was nurturing in my mind, which was that there really should be a space where individuals and caregivers living with any kind of illness or disability could go to manage the inherent stress, be it depression, anxiety, fear that we all face through living with a condition of any sort, that this was a massive void that just needed to be filled. And I knew what stress had done to me in my mind and my physical body and my relationships. So my friends at the farms really seemed to like the idea and encouraged me to kind of run with it. And they were some of the first people to support what's now called Beyond My Battle, which is a nonprofit that I started with my friend Nell that does just that. So that was how that got started. But sorry, I'm just going to lose my spot. Anyway, there's a verse in Bob's song tonight that I just want to touch on before I conclude, which is that it's about a conversation that I had with my mom when I was about 16 years old. And it really stuck with me that it happened when I was in probably my darkest place ever, and I hadn't been able to get out of bed for days, and I asked her, like, how do I stop feeling this way? I was so lost in it. I didn't know how to change it. Like I said, it had become my normal state. And she looked at me and very honestly said, help others and you'll help yourself. So I'm going to be honest, I didn't take that advice immediately. I definitely stayed in a depressive state for years to come, but it stuck with me. And it wasn't until I became a member of Pitney Meadows Community Farm that I really knew what she meant, which was that when we nurture our communities, be it our planet to our small cities, we nurture ourselves. And now I really, really know what that means. So today I still have the exact same little bed that I had now in the third year of the community garden. The garden in itself is part of a bigger farm that's just growing in so many amazing ways. And even just in the garden, we started with 49 beds in 3 summers ago, 2 years ago. I guess this is the third year. And now there's 108 beds. And there are beds that serve the Saratoga Senior Center, Saratoga Community Health Center, Saratoga Bridges, Saratoga Waldorf School, Girl Scouts, and there are also 4 high beds for people with mobility issues, and next spring we'll be making some wheelchair accessible beds too, which is very exciting now that I work in this space of people with disabilities and diagnoses, I think. And I'm also very proud to serve on the donor cultivation committee for the farm, where each month I get to meet with nonprofit leaders, local philanthropists, and just farm enthusiasts. And in most of my free time, you can find me there, not just watering my crops, but painting the fields or visiting my friends. And that's about it. I want to just also give thanks to Bob for putting my story to song. It has just been a real honor to get to know him and become his friend. So thank you.
If my hands can stir the soil, carry water in this can, if I can help this seed to grow on the days it doesn't rain, if I can help this seed to grow, maybe I can grow again. If I can listen to your words and know what is in your heart, maybe I'll know my own heart then. Maybe that will be the start. Maybe I'll know my own heart then. Maybe that will be the start. The start of all things possible, the opening to the unknown, and the end of letting fear keep me in the dark alone. If I can paint the blue of water, if I can paint the greens of spring, if I can light the way for someone, wouldn't that be everything? If I can light the way for someone,